I was asked a couple questions within the last 24 hours, and although I answered one of them, I thought of a better person to get an answer from, and that is my friend Katya Litsky. Katya has rescued 75 dogs. Is that correct?
Fostered
Fostered
them. Yes.
while
Fostered.
having another dog,
Yes.
while having two children.
For the last like 35 of them.
For the last 35, you are a professional trainer or trained to be a trainer.
In recovery. I
In
am a trainer in recovery. Yes, I used to be a dog trainer, positive reinforcement based dog trainer.
You are a current volunteer at shelters. You also work at a shelter with an outside organization, and
Yes,
you
better together forever. They're awesome.
you published a book. What's your title of the book?
It's called Be Your Dog's Best
And it
Friend.
was published by who?
McFarlane.
And it's the benefits of mutual bonding and a relationship building. And can you sum it up in a couple sentences?
Yeah, I'd say it's about how to elevate the relationship you have with your rescue dog over the results you get from them. It's sort of the intersection where dog bonding, dog behavior, and spiritual or personal development overlap. So, in doing certain things to get what we want from our dogs, I believe we actually end up becoming the best version of ourselves.
So I'm going to break the questions into two and make this two different interviews, if that's cool.
That's totally cool.
The first one I know a little bit about, and that was someone asked me how they should bring a new dog from a shelter home when there's a home dog in the house. I don't have a dog. I have a cat.
Mhm.
I'm not allowed to have dogs in my apartment, but I've done this with other people. I've read, I've researched, I've seen, I have listened. But in your experience with your 75 fosters, what do you think the best way to bring a new dog into a home is?
It's such a loaded question, and I want to say this is my experience and everything I've learned. I've learned a ton from books and official training, but I've definitely learned the most from making a lot of mistakes in my own house and from involving the animals in my life, in the life of my family, and fostering for different rescue groups and animal shelter systems. So all that to say, if something I say doesn't land, like go find someone else. There's tons of people out there with a dog behavior advice, suggestions, tips, expertise, and fostering experience. But I will say, like, number one thing is time, which is probably an unfortunate thing to hear, being that we live in a, 30-second reels based world. But animals don't. Dogs don't live in an Instagram world. They don't. They didn't shift into that reality. We did. That instant gratification world, that's only a human thing. And we've put it on them and they've done their best to catch up, but they need time. That's the first thing. To decompress from a shelter, animals need time. So when you are driving a car and you almost run that red light, or the car next to you gets a little close and you swerve, that feeling you get of like cortisol releasing, of adrenaline, of stress, those hormones that are real that go through your body, they get that too. And they get that at the shelter based on barking and the smells and new people and new boots and new dogs, just all the newness constantly. They almost never rest. So they get that feeling over and over and over again, and they just need a little bit of time to decompress. That's the first thing. Second thing is, can they meet on a walk? I never have dogs who don't know each other like free together and never unsupervised. Walks are naturally bonding activities.
So I love everything you're saying, but we speak so differently. Um, I answered the 3 by 3 by 3 rule,
Okay, yes.
which is 3 days of decompression, 3 days of getting used to, and or 3 weeks of getting used to, and 3 months of hey, I'm here. And also mentioned meeting at a place where no ownership is for either dog. There's no possession,
Yeah.
and doing a walk along over time, and then closing the distance and getting closer and closer. And each time the dog gets excited, you stay at that distance until the dog gets bored. What do you think
Ooh,
about that?
I really like that answer, especially that last part, because what you're talking about is desensitizing. And be having the audacity to let something be boring and not stimulating in this, like in 2025, is so healing for dogs. Talk about like making the time really work for you. Let it just be boring. We put a magnifying glass on them the minute they come home from wherever they were to our house. And we just examine everything they do, and we give them this overvigilance, which is really scary at a time where they're already scared. Because dogs are social creatures. They're not only trying to figure out who you are or who this other dog in the house is, they're trying to figure out who they are now, which goes to say their identity shifts based on the pack, based on the expectations put on them in a place that is new where they can't possibly know.
I tell people who are adopting, you're getting a new dog. The dog is getting a new everything.
Oof. So, so well put. Could be a bumper sticker. Just you might want to TM that one.
Okay. Um, the dog is home. The dog is decompressed. They have met. You never leave them alone. There's a next. So what's the next?
And this is another probably unfortunate answer. The next comes from them and not from us. The timeline doesn't come from me. It comes from the dog. And how do I know that? Based on body language. Where are their tail? Where's the tails? Where are the ears? What are the eyes doing? What's the muzzle? Is it tight? Is it relaxed and sort of floppy smiley? Uh, Ears front or back? Is it headband position? Tail? Is it to the left? Is it to the right? Is it taut? Is it underneath? Body leaning forward. Look at their, all the communication stuff that you know very, very well. And everyone can look online and find really funny graphics. It's not hard to get the access to like, what is the dog's body language telling me? And then there's the other part, which is, I find the more challenging part, which is being quiet enough to listen to your own intuition and to get a gut feeling and get a sense, which requires you to tune into yourself, which requires you to tune out noise, almost meditative, one might say, and really get a feel and a sense and always err on the side of caution. I've had many dogs that I have waited a good 6 months before the pack was all together. And they were still dragging a leash just in case, just having a leash in the house, just in case I needed to pull that leash. Why? Because of the communication I was getting from the dog, coupled with the communication I was getting inside myself. Now, were those feelings accurate? Was I in a more anxious state in my life? Was I projecting something on the dog, maybe? All of that could be absolutely possible. It doesn't matter because I'm feeling nervous, stressed, and that's already having an impact on the dog.
So
So,
I tell people to go slow,
mhm.
and you can't unring a bell. So if you go too fast and there's an incident, then there's a lack of trust between handler and dog and dogs and dogs. So you can't go too slow, but you can certainly go too fast. I want to ask one more question and then we'll wrap this video up and we'll go to the next one. We get a lot of dogs returned because people are either hugging or kissing the dog, and we get a lot of dogs returned because people are feeding the two dogs side by side together. Do you want to address that as the last part of this?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I'm bummed that those things still happen. And I guess I just want to say I'm not bummed at the people because I think people really don't know. It's like someone talking about mutual funds and yields and dividends. You're like, wait, what? Like you have to know to know. But just because we hug and kiss and use our hands doesn't mean dogs do. It is very unnatural for them. And they don't know us. And if our face is pressed up against theirs and they have a quick dog reaction, your face is the first available place to get met with their teeth. Every dog has fight and flight as the main default reactions. They also have freeze and fawn, just like we do. But with an unregulated nervous system, you're putting such a gamble on what the dog's response is going to be. So back to time. Um, Also, I just really want to say that not all dogs are created equal. I've had Belgian Malinois, pit bulls, I mean, a mix of everything, beagles, terriers, seniors, puppies. Every dog is not the same. There are dogs I've had that I want in bed with me, and it will affect the personality and the behavior of that dog, and that dog sleeps in their crate. Not because I'm a jerk, but because that is the best routine and structure for that dog. That's what she needs. So to assume every dog can not only digest and handle the same privileges is doesn't make any sense. I don't know where that expectation comes from. And to assume that they all want the same treatment is also just, I guess, missing the point of them as sentient individual beings. So that's on that part. In terms of feeding together, just always a trigger, never do it. Just never. I always feed my dog separate. Unless you want to make a game of it, you want to have demands, commands like per dog to come to you or everybody, and then everyone comes at the same time to a different cue that everyone gets carrots or whatever, if that works with your pack. But that just takes a lot of time and establishment amongst the group itself.
And a lot of training for the people doing it. That's not an
Yeah.
amateur thing.
Yeah, and why?
Yeah.
What is the benefit of dogs eating together? I mean,
No.
I don't know any.
So I like to say to people, you have to learn how to speak dog. The dog is not going to learn how to speak you. Dogs don't hug by grabbing each other in nature. If something grabs them, it wants to harm them or eat them, and that's their brain. Some of them may tolerate it, but you can even see in those dogs' eyes that they're stressing out. Even when someone tells me my dog loves it, you can look at the eyes and it tells you they don't really love it. They're just putting it up with you. But a
Yeah.
dog that's compressed from the shelter doesn't know who you are and doesn't trust who you are yet. It takes that 3 months at least for them to have some level of trust with you. And even that, some dogs don't like to be grabbed or held or have your face put in their face. And I agree 100% about feeding. Like, why do it? Why?
I will also say that to the question of like feeding or hugging or just even introducing dogs to each other, something I tell people to do, whether you're adopting a dog or you already have a dog or you have a pack or whatever the case may be at the shelter, it doesn't hurt to reflect just for 5 minutes. Make it a family activity or something amongst you and your partner. Make it relational. Just take 5, 10 minutes and think about what is it that I want? What's the scenario? What are the scenarios of my dog's life or the dog I'm going to adopt's life? What do I want them to do? And what skills or management would they need in order to make that possible? And what's the likelihood? If you made a chart, my dogs, I want them to eat side by side. Dinner time, I want them to eat side by side. What skills or management are needed for that to go safely? Are you available for the whole row? And if not, can there be a different scenario? It's dinner time and they eat one outside, one inside. Just go through and think about beforehand, how do I want my dogs to behave and what skills or management techniques are needed? It's going to take you 5, 10 minutes and then talk with your family and look at the overlap and see what you guys can do together, but be prepared ahead of time instead of reactive when they come home and then blaming the dog, which is the easiest person to go to or being to go to.
I'm glad you brought that up because that's how I wanted to end this. And that is, when is the time to make the decisions and to do the learning and learn about crate training and toys and food and socialization and meeting the family members and meeting other people? When is the time to do that research? Is it after you take the dog home, or is it before you go to the shelter to meet the dog?
It's before
Yeah.
and ongoing. It's before and ongoing.
All right. Her book, what's it called again?
Be your dog's best friend.
And who's it published by?
McFarland, their Dogs in Our World series. They have a lot of great dog books.
And it's in paperback, as you see. Full disclaimer, I am mentioned on page 130,
Yes, you are.
which is a lovely surprise. I didn't realize that about my volunteer work at shelters. Thank you so much for doing that. And it's also on Kindle. Is that correct?
Yes. And it's on Amazon and Barnes and Noble, and it's a real honor.
All right. Thank you so much for this one. I have
Thanks.
another question, so don't go anywhere.
Okay, thank you.